Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder aboard the E.B.R. 1954, battle rating 4.3, full premium French wheeled light tank. Rank 3, and you can earn it also in the ongoing Operation Winter. It is the first prize for, if I'm not mistaken, 5 stars. And thanks to Gaijin, I got early access to it for a test drive of 2 weeks. So, you get a premium by playing the game for free. That cannot be, so the tank is broken beyond belief in many aspects. So here you can see now the suspension at work, where the suspension doesn't move, but then the connection is weirdly cut loose and it's just lazy. Then we come to the driving model of this tank, because it's, you know, supposed to be a light tank. Here I just spawned, and this is a slight inclination right from the spawn. Look at this. 13 kilometers per hour. This is not a steep hill, right? And it's supposedly to be better accessible for this tank because the middle 2 wheels are steel wheels, so they should have more traction, negating the lack of traction of rubber wheels. And here, going up a hill, sorry, no, not possible. There are many examples of this, and I show some of this in the background. Now, I have to interrupt this for probably the coolest kill of this match, and that had to do with the R320 that I killed earlier. He came back in a plane and he hit me, one of the wheels, and yeah, it's now broken. And for a change, the plane flew so slow and so low that I got a kill on it, which is the coolest kill that I got with this tank. Overall, the tank was not really that amazing. And again, right next to me, there is a jumbo. Now, I follow here the road, which should be amazing. However, I cannot make here the hydropneumatic suspension work because it doesn't exist. That would lift the 2 middle axes, and I only then have the friction, so to speak, of the rubber wheels, which are designed for the road. And that is not possible. It is not implemented, which is lazy. The technology is already there in War Thunder when it comes to, you know, hydropneumatic suspension being a thing. Type 74 being, I guess, the first tank that had it. But it was apparently too difficult for this tank. I don't know how much difference it would make. Now, the top speed of this tank is supposedly 105 kilometers per hour. We have a 15.2 ton heavy tank for a 200 horsepower engine, and that just doesn't pull it, quite literally. And I follow here the road. Now, there are sometimes roads that lead directly to the target, but mostly on War Thunder maps there aren't, so you need to spend a bit of time to get to the road, then build up the speed, then turn, and then also go to your destination, either be it a sniper position or a cap, it doesn't matter. And in this scenario, it just represents it very well that by using the road, I now ended up more or less exactly where a jumbo Sherman is. That just went straight across field. And here, there is an SC-85 keeping up with me. That just shows you the lack of horsepower to ton ratio. It shows you the lack of mobility for a tank that should be faster. And if you are staring in disbelief at the tanks, you run into something and then you lose all the speed, and yeah, an SC-85 overtakes you. That's just the reality. I'm not here to complain, I'm just sharing with you my experience. And on top of this, and this is now a bit of complaining, the R320 spam is insane, because obviously one of the aspects of the event is that you cap quite a lot of capture points, and no better vehicle has ever been there in War Thunder than the R320. So then there are the lags of the server, which cannot handle the stress from the players that participate both in the event, in the Operation Winter, but also in the Battle Pass, and that is with roughly only, quote-unquote, only 90,000 players online. So you can see my experience in this tank was limited. However, I want to share with you this battle because it highlights a few of the good aspects. When a few things come together, the enemy team allows you to move a bit, and together with then a good map which has a bit of more open space area, you then can make the tank work. And finally, after just highlighting all the broken stuff, let's talk about the stuff that works, and that is the gun. We have here a 75mm SA50 L57 cannon with an overall ammunition capacity of 36 rounds. The funny thing about this is that we have a 5-second auto loader, so it's independent from your crew skills. And you have overall 13 rounds in the first ammo stowage, which is great. After that, you have to go through a long reload, or you have to lurk within a capture point to refill the ammunition and therefore also refill the first ammo stowage. Now let's talk about the gun handling, because that is a bit iffy. It's very restricted. You have only 6 degrees of gun depression because of the oscillating turret and 10 degrees of gun elevation. You only have a 7.5mm machine gun, which is coaxial, and that's about it. Now we further have to talk about the turret traverse, which is 30 degrees per second, which is not bad. However, the vertical targeting speed, aka the gun elevation speed, is quote-unquote only 4.5 degrees per second, so it's more or less World War II era standards. Then let's talk about the armor, and yeah, it is 20mm, and that is not really thick. It is extremely thin from the side. It's only 15mm. The strongest turret is 40mm of cost homogeneous armor on the turret, and that also won't stop that many shells. The tank can go forwards and backwards with the same speed. I think it is kind of designed for this. And in fact, yeah, one of the loaders acts also as a driver. So overall, you have 4 crew members in the tank. 2 are in the turret and 2 are in the hull. The tank is still susceptible to hull break very easily from artillery strikes, heat shells, and as I said, also anti-aircraft caliber weapon just chews through this tank. So you can see that this tank is very much limited when it comes to fighting in city environments. On open fields though, this is where the tank can shine. And then let's talk about the ammunition. We have 2 shell types, one of which is HE shell. That is not really that impressive, 10mm of penetration, 753 meters per second muzzle velocity. And then we have the POT-51A armor-piercing capped shell. It has 1000 meters per second muzzle velocity and 182 millimeters of penetration. It doesn't really perform that well versus angled armor, and it loses also over distance quite a bit of penetration. At 1000 meters we have 143 millimeters of penetration. You have no explosive filler in it, and that means you have to work over the tanks, disable them sometimes, and also not believe in chancy shots. The shells ricochet more than ever with the volumetric armor rework, and so this is where you have to put a bit more effort into this tank, into aiming, into positioning yourself. Overall, the tank is not pointless, it's not useless. It's also pretty strong when it comes to scouting. It has a bit of smoke, and it has an artillery strike. I just wish it wouldn't be that poorly and lazy implemented as it is, with the lack of the hydropneumatic suspension, and also that you give it overall, also for the steel wheels, a rubber wheel driving model. That's just defeating the purpose of it. Is it worth it? Well, it's a nice little premium, and you have quite some nice modifiers, if I say so. So 1.0 for the civil lines, the best is 1.4 for tanks, so you know it's a rather low tier premium, and 1.48 for the RP. That is also where other tanks are better. So I think that it's not bad for its tier. It's kind of average with the income, both RP and civil line wise, but even from a pure gameplay perspective, the tank is very often in a state where it's not really that nice. Aside from the R320 spam, aside from the server lags. You know, that's not the tank's fault though. But this tank could be better. And eventually I got killed here. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a like with it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll see each other on the waves in the skies and on the battlefields of War Thunder.